You may find yourself repeatedly losing people, facing setbacks, and feeling that circumstances never align in your favor. You might cry out in prayer, yet observe no immediate change. It can seem as though nothing is shifting. However, consider this perspective. What if the delay is not a form of punishment, but rather the ultimate examination, the final assessment before a breakthrough occurs? What if Allah is not overlooking you, but attentively observing your response to the silence? Often, signs are subtle. They do not arrive as grand visions or vivid dreams. Instead, they manifest as solitude, unanswered calls, or blessings seemingly slipping away, one after another. And just when you feel on the brink of surrender, that pivotal moment arrives. The transformation, the opening, the blessing you had quietly begun to doubt. Here's an important insight many overlook. Blessings do not materialize without precursor signs. If you are experiencing these subtle signals, it suggests your life may be closer to positive change than you realize. In this discussion, we will explore 7 nuanced yet impactful indicators that Allah is preparing to bestow upon a woman, blessings far surpassing her current desires. I encourage you not to skip ahead or postpone this message. Algorithms may not ensure this content reaches you again. If even one of these signs resonates with your current experience, it has the potential to transform your understanding of your journey. This is not generic motivation. This message is tailored for the woman who is weary of empty reassurances to just be patient without being shown the tangible essence of patience, the endurance, solitude, exhaustion, and unwavering trust in Allah. If you find yourself here now, perhaps it is because you are ready to recognize the deeper, less obvious signs, those often unnoticed but profoundly meaningful. Sign 1. The fading connection to what you once fervently desired. You may recall the sleepless nights, the tearful prayers, the relentless dua for that person, or opportunity that once dominated your world, yet now it barely occupies your thoughts. Strikingly, you feel no heartbreak, only a gentle detachment, as if your heart has silently released its grip without your consent. This is not a failure nor forgetfulness. Rather, it is a divine indication that before Allah grants what is truly destined for you, He gently loosens your attachment to what was meant only as a lesson. That calm in your chest, where once was obsession, is not emptiness but preparation. Space being created for what genuinely belongs to you. This transition is so subtle that many misinterpret it as laziness or doubt the efficacy of their prayers. In truth, you have simply outgrown what you once believed to be your dream, a powerful and necessary step, as Allah clears distractions before delivering what is preordained. Sign 2. An unexpected surge of guilt and introspection. In the midst of ordinary moments, scrolling through your phone, sharing laughter with friends, you may suddenly feel a hollow void, a sense that something is amiss. Memories of past mistakes or forgotten sins resurface, accompanied by an unanticipated wave of remorse. This phenomenon is not a sign of weakness or anxiety, it is a divine prompt. When Allah is readying you for a significant transformation, He initiates a quiet purification of your heart. Your soul recalls buried truths not to condemn, but to guide you back toward the path of spiritual readiness. Before you can fully receive what's destined for you, your inner space must be prepared, purified and primed for the incoming blessings. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "When Allah intends good for someone, He grants them a deep understanding of the religion." This profound insight underscores a critical principle, that sudden discomfort or waves of guilt emerging amidst apparent normalcy are not coincidental. Rather, they represent a divine call, a strategic realignment from Allah, preparing you for something extraordinary. You might experience these subtle nudges at unexpected moments, whether lying in bed before sleep, during routine activities like cooking, in the midst of traffic, or while performing wudu. The timing is inconsequential. It is the message that matters most. You are on the cusp of elevation, but first, the space within you must be cleansed to accommodate this new phase. The gravest error we can commit is to dismiss these moments as mere emotional fluctuations. On the contrary, this is the heart softening, a soul's whisper urging reconciliation, reflection, and renewed devotion before Allah unveils the next chapter. If you've noticed these waves of introspection or guilt recently, do not evade them. Embrace them as navigational tools. Often the most powerful indicators of imminent blessings arrive cloaked in discomfort. Sign 3. The unexpected departure of people, including those once thought permanent. When trusted friends or loved ones begin to withdraw, through silence, distance, or broken plans, it initially feels deeply personal. You may find yourself questioning your worth, ruminating over perceived shortcomings, and bearing the weight of unanswered questions. Yet what if this perceived abandonment is not rejection, but divine redirection? Surah Al-Anfal 8:24 reminds us, "And know that Allah stands between a person and their heart." This signifies that Allah may intentionally place barriers between you and others, not as a form of harm, but as protection, safeguarding your heart from connections that would no longer serve your best interest and clearing space for superior relationships. Reflect on this. If every friendship had endured, would your relationship with Allah be as sincere or transformative? Often we underestimate our dependency on people until Allah gently removes them, one by one, to reveal those who genuinely remain. Though it is one of the most challenging signs to accept, it is also unmistakably clear, manifested through silence compelling reflection, tears invoking prayer, and nights where the prayer mat becomes the sole refuge. This process is not abandonment, it is filtration. Blessings do not always arrive with companions. Sometimes they come in the aftermath of separation, when distractions vanish and the noise subsides, leaving only your voice and the one who listens best. If you are currently experiencing loss, resist the urge to hastily replace what has departed. Instead, embrace the silence and allow Allah to orchestrate the rearrangement. Those who exit your life were never intended to be part of the forthcoming chapter, and rest assured that next chapter promises to surpass anything previously written. If pain lingers, remember the wisdom of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. You will never leave something for the sake of Allah, except that Allah will replace it with something better. This moment marks not an end, but a clearing, a necessary precursor to renewal. Sign 4. Persistent trials accompanied by a transformed response. The challenges persist, the obstacles remain, yet your reaction evolves profoundly. You are still tested, but your internal framework has shifted. Where panic once dominated, you now exhibit calm. Where questions of "why me" arose, you now respond with a quiet "Alhamdulillah." This is not numbness or surrender, this is growth, resilience, and a strategic pivot toward faith-driven acceptance. You've undergone a transformation, and this change did not occur by chance. It is a deliberate evolution orchestrated by Allah. One key indicator that Allah is about to bestow a blessing upon you is the emergence of calm within your heart, even as external chaos persists. The storms of life continue to rage, yet your inner resolve strengthens. You respond with greater saber, patience, embracing silence and deepening faith. You no longer feel compelled to broadcast your struggles publicly. Instead, you confide directly in Allah. Gradually, the trials that once felt like punishments begin to take on the character of preparation. Allah states in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah 2:153, "Indeed, Allah is with those who are patient." This patience transcends mere waiting. It reflects the grace with which you carry your heart through the wait, smiling despite delay, persisting in righteousness even when unnoticed or unrewarded. This newfound resilience, this quiet strength you may not have realized you possessed, is a divine signal. Before Allah transforms your external circumstances, He first transforms you. If recently you find yourself hesitating before voicing complaints, if you restrain tears in public but pour out your soul in sujood, recognize this as an internal rewiring, a critical stage of preparation ahead of the blessing. Sign 5. When your doer evolves, becoming more specific, sincere, and heartfelt. You may find yourself questioning why your dua remains unanswered despite tahajjud prayers, tearful sujood, and supplications during rain, fasting, and after every salah. Doubts creep in. Am I doing something wrong? Am I not worthy? Is Allah displeased? These silent questions are common yet rarely voiced. Here's a profound truth often overlooked. When your dua matures, shifting from vague mechanical requests to raw, clear, and heartfelt pleas, that signals a pivotal transformation. Early dua tends to be general, give me something good. But as Allah prepares you for something far greater, your supplications become precise, emerging authentically from your heart, sometimes accompanied by pain. You start asking for clarity, peace, and authenticity. You no longer seek superficial or fleeting desires. You seek stability, purity, and blessings that come solely from Allah, not your own imagination. Allah affirms in the Quran, Surah Ghafir 40:60, "Call upon me, I will respond to you." This promise is profound, yet the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, clarified its nuances. No Muslim who makes a sincere dua, free from sin and broken ties, goes without a response. Allah's reply manifests in one of three ways: immediate fulfillment, deferred reward in the hereafter, or protection from an equivalent harm. Thus, dua is never wasted. Sometimes what feels like silence is actually protection from a greater trial, or a preservation for a time when the answer will be most vital. Alongside this, your soul undergoes reshaping. When your dua includes phrases such as, "Ya Allah, if this is good for me," or "Ya Allah, protect me even from what I desire. If it is not meant for me," this is not surrendering or giving up. It is spiritual maturity and profound growth. The evolution in your dua reflects the evolution of your soul. You are no longer asking merely for ease, but for what is ultimately right for your akhirah, hereafter. Sometimes this shift is the very reason Allah opens doors you never anticipated knocking on. So, the next time you ask, "Why haven't I received it yet?" instead ask, "How has my way of asking changed?" Because often what you are now asking is precisely what needed to be said all along. Sign 6. When you lose fascination with what once tempted you. A subtle but significant shift occurs. You no longer crave the thrills that once excited you. The allure of parties, endless social media scrolling, compliments, or perfectly curated photos, the quick highs, all begin to feel trivial. They belong to a previous version of yourself, one you have quietly outgrown. This does not mean you have become dull or disengaged. Rather, you are evolving beyond superficial gratification toward deeper fulfillment aligned with your true purpose. You may find yourself increasingly weary of pretending that distraction equates to joy. The things that once drew you in, certain friendships, specific types of validation, even some dreams, now feel burdensome rather than fulfilling. You no longer feel the need to be seen or to immerse yourself in noise. This is not a sign of depression, it is a signal of elevation. Before Allah grants you something pure and sacred, He gradually detoxifies your heart from everything that once numbed your spirit. This process of quiet redirection is reflected beautifully in Surah Al-Kahf 18:28. And keep yourself patiently with those who call on their Lord morning and evening, seeking His pleasure. And do not let your eyes look beyond them, desiring the luxuries of this worldly life. This verse serves as a strategic reminder to anchor yourself in sincere connections and spiritual pursuit, rather than being swept away by the fleeting allure of worldly distractions. You begin to favor stillness over stimulation, depth over superficiality, and sincerity, even if it comes with solitude, a rarity in today's fast-paced culture. Our environment constantly pressures us to chase more success, more likes, more luxury, with the implicit message that without such achievements, we are missing out. Yet true success is never about the temporary. It is a test on the path to the ultimate destination, Akhira. The Quranic reminder is clear: do not let your gaze stray toward the glitter of this world. So when you feel your heart disengaging from those once important pursuits, when impressing others and chasing lifestyles misaligned with your core values no longer appeal to you, Understand that you are being intentionally guided towards something eternal. Yes, this process carries its share of pain. You may watch others continue to chase what you are releasing, and you might question whether your new path is the right one. But this ache itself is a sign, a divine lesson that before receiving something meaningful, Allah teaches you to relinquish attachment to the temporary. If you are losing interest in what once defined you, do not see it as falling apart. Rather, recognize it as outgrowing a former version of yourself, one that was not meant to carry your next blessing. Sign 7. When your heart detaches from the outcome, but your effort remains steadfast. This is among the most subtle yet profoundly impactful signs. You continue making dua, doing your part, praying, hoping, and trying. However, the fixation on the outcome fades. You surrender the results quietly and fully to Allah. It is not indifference, it is trust, a trust so deep that you believe whatever is meant for you will come, and if not, something better is being prepared. You stop compulsively checking your phone for that call, cease replaying conversations in your mind, and no longer panic when plans don't unfold as hoped. Your certainty shifts from reliance on your own efforts to confidence in Allah's divine plan. This level of trust is not easily attained. It often emerges after moments of breakdown, disappointment, and the realization that clinging too tightly to outcomes only leads to fracture. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, taught us, "Be mindful of Allah and you will find Him in front of you." Recognize Allah in times of ease, and He will recognize you in times of hardship. Understand that what has passed you by was never meant for you, and what has come your way was never meant to miss you. This hadith serves as a steady anchor. When you truly embrace this belief, your breathing changes, your mind quiets, and your heart releases resistance. That is when transformation begins. Detachment does not imply apathy. Rather, it signifies peace, an unshackling of your heart from the chains of expectation, allowing you to move forward with clarity and grace. You invest effort, you pray, you persevere, but your happiness is no longer tethered to a singular outcome. This signals that you have transcended the trial. You have matured and stepped into the pivotal space where Allah's divine plans begin to unfold, not only for your worldly life, but also for your eternal hereafter. So, what does it truly signify when Allah is poised to bless a woman with something monumental? The process rarely commences with fanfare or comfort. More often, it begins with silence, solitude, and heartbreak. The subtle unraveling where things seem to fall apart just before a greater alignment takes place. Perhaps you have experienced this, or maybe you are navigating it now, questioning the shifts in relationships, feeling the delay in answered prayers, oscillating between heaviness and hope. Every sign we have discussed, the disconnection, the pangs of guilt, the isolation, the tests, the surrender, they are not coincidental. These are spiritual fingerprints carefully crafting and preparing your heart for blessings yet beyond your current imagination. The Quran reminds us poignantly, and it may be that you dislike a thing which is good for you. Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah 2216. Therefore, do not rush Allah's process in your life. Do not question the pause or compare your timeline with others. If even one of these signs resonates with your journey, perhaps you are not delayed. You are being strategically positioned. When the blessing arrives, it will transcend the fulfillment of your dua. It will render the pain and waiting inconsequential. I invite you to share this dua in the comments. Allah, prepare me for the blessing before you send it, and make it a means to draw me closer to you. If this message has resonated with your heart, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need this reminder. You never know, this could be the gentle nudge their soul has been silently awaiting. May Allah bless you, elevate you, and guide you to everything your heart has long desired, at the right time and in the best way. Ameen.